Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Alaska's Disability Pride Celebration. This is Alaska's third annual event celebrating disability pride in Alaska and also celebrating the Americans with Disabilities Act. The ADA was passed 30 years ago on July 26, 1990, and July is Disability Pride Month. Today, we hope to promote the message of honoring every person's uniqueness and differing abilities as a beautiful part of human diversity. Today's special guest is Judy Heumann, a disabilities rights activist who has used a wheelchair most of her life. Growing up, she experienced discrimination within the educational system, which prompted her and her mother to for more inclusive school policies for children with disabilities. In 1974, Judy helped develop legislation that became the Individuals with Disabilities Act, and she was instrumental in laying the groundwork for the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA. I just want to also mention her book, Being Human, is available on Amazon and other places, local bookstores, I'm sure. And also her Netflix documentary, Crip Camp, is also available for viewing on Netflix. And we're going to talk more about that later. Before we get to their interview, I want to also make sure I'm introducing Maggie Winston, who will be interviewing Judy. And Maggie is a proud disabled woman in a wheelchair. A proud disabled woman and a wheelchair user who has a passion for disability policy and advocacy. Maggie works works for the Division of Senior and Disability Services and is an adjunct faculty for Alaska's LEND program. She stays active working on other activities that increase the health, safety, and community integration of individuals with developmental disabilities. So we're going to get to that interview in a second. First, just real quick, I want to let everybody know that every day this week through Sunday, we'll be celebrating Disability Pride with a host of national guest speakers interviewed by Alaskan advocates every day this week through Sunday. And these interviews will be followed by an opportunity for audience members to ask questions of the guest speakers. So I want to make sure everybody knows you can write your questions for Judy today in the comments section below. And you can start writing those questions now, and we will get to them a little later in the interview after Maggie and Judy have their interview. Also, each day we'll feature a short pre-recorded interview with Alaskan advocates, and today's interview, pre-recorded interview at the end, will be with Jenna Crafton. Finally, if you want to see the lineup for the rest of the week, click on About underneath the this Facebook event page. Click on About and you'll see the whole lineup for the rest of the week. So without further discussion, I'd like to introduce Judy Heumann and Maggie Wilson.
Thank you very much, Terry. Hi, Maggie.
Hi, Judy. How are you?
Good. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you here. We in Alaska are big fans. So thank you again for joining us today. 2020 has been kind of a weird year for the world, but for Judy Heumann, it's been a pretty big year also with Crip Camp and with your book. But I think we're all itching to hear a little bit more about Crip Camp. And so would you mind telling us a little bit more about your experience at Camp Jened and how it shaped you as an advocate?
Thank you. So for those of you who haven't yet watched Netflix and have not yet watched Crip Camp on Netflix, I encourage you to do that. So Crip Camp's kind of a unique experience because you'll see in the beginning of the film, there was a video camera that was brought to the camp by two local people who were just starting out doing videoing. And they brought this camera to the camp, and the administration said it was fine for them to come and basically do some training of disabled people, teenagers, and So you had all this footage that was taken, about 5.5 hours of footage, actually. The film was conceived of and directed by a gentleman named Jimmy Lebrecht and Nicole Newnham and Sarah Boulder. And so the credit for the film goes to them. I was very fortunate that I was in a lot of the footage that was taken in 1971. And then Jimmy and I had been friends since 1971. And so he was also, over the years, involved with the disability movement. So you'll see in the film that I'm, amongst other people, at Jeanette, and then as life goes forward, still in the film. Camp Jeanette, and I'm sure you've had camps like this and may still in Alaska, but Camp Jeanette was a camp for disabled children. I say was because it's closed now. It was really for teenagers. They had an adult camp also, although I never went to the adult camp. I went to another camp prior to Camp Jeanette until I was about 12. And I think the reason I went to Camp Jeanette is they had a 4-week session and one 8-week session. And I think one year went to a 4-week session and then a couple of years to the 8-week sessions. What was very important for me at Camp Jeanette in Hunter, New York, about an hour and a half or 2 hours out of New York City, I grew up in Brooklyn, was not only the environment because it was in the country, it was a rustic camp, but they were great campers. And the people who ran the camp were, young people in their 20s and 30s, some of whom had experience because their parents had disabilities, and others really were trying to create opportunities for disabled teenagers and young adults to be able to have fun in the summer. And so there were all kinds of activities. But I think for me, one of the most powerful parts of my summers there was the fact that I was with other disabled individuals of my age, a little younger, older, but it really was an opportunity not only to begin to explore more of independence, being away from family, but it also was a real opportunity for us to be able to think about our futures and what we wanted our futures to look like, and the types of barriers and discrimination that we were facing in society. And it enabled us to really start thinking about disability as a movement, the importance of our looking at what we could be doing together to address issues like lack of accessibility in buses and trains and sidewalks, and lack of opportunities in education, and what we were thinking about for our futures, and what do we see as obstacles to our futures, and what were we learning about the Civil Rights Act and the women's movement and the anti-war movement, and what did we need to be doing to emulate what they were doing, to be able to really create something that was not run by non-disabled people, which is what was happening previously, and certainly that was not based on medical cure. Our goal was, we want to be able to participate in society like others. We don't want to be seen as the problem. We need to be working towards solutions.
And you demonstrate that so well with this absolute fierceness, but also such emotion. There's a quote in Crip Camp from one of your fellow protesters who says, quote, "We were more scared of disappointing Judy Heumann than we ever were of the FBI or the police department arresting us." So when you hear them people say stuff like that, first of all, what made you, do you think, so fierce? And do you agree with that statement?
So, well, Corbett made that statement, so I can't disagree with it because those are her words. But I don't know that I would say fierce. I would say that I think, we all felt a commitment to each other as well as a commitment to the goal. So when we're looking at Section 504 which very briefly was part of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. And Section 504, for those of you who maybe don't know it, says that you may not discriminate against someone with a disability if you are getting money from the federal government. So it was the first major piece of anti-discrimination legislation that was going to cover, in entities getting money from the federal government, employment discrimination. Look at issues around construction. Look at who we were as disabled people. What was happening denying us entry into schools, into universities to study what we wanted to study, to get people in the workforce and out of sheltered workshops, things of that nature. So we really were using it as an opportunity to come together, strengthen our movement, be able to come up with a commitment to each other. So I think the statement about not wanting, being more afraid of me than the FBI or CIA, I think it really honestly is people really felt a commitment to each other, and that we were really working hard, both the people who were, there were 150 people in the building for almost a month, and a small group of us, 25, went back to Washington to work with disability groups that were part of the American Coalition of Citizens with Disabilities. And we didn't want to fail. And so I think that was really a significant issue. We didn't want to let each other down. We were really recognizing that we had power together. And also I think, another important part about what was going on is because accessibility was such a problem in personal assistance services, et cetera, that we needed to stay in the building, at least a group of us, because otherwise, if we left, we'd never be able to keep the momentum that we had started.
Well, and I'm glad you didn't. And
Yeah.
anybody that hasn't seen the drunk history on that exact moment, that's also a really good one to watch.
Yeah, so Drunk History, you can go on Facebook, YouTube, and look for Drunk History 504. You can also go to YouTube and look at something called The Power of 504. And The Power of 504 is about an 18-minute piece, which just focuses on the 504 demonstrations exclusively. Crip Camp starts out in the early 1970s and really runs through past the ADA.
Well, and I just love your knowledge and sense that this was a movement, a collective movement, and you always say we and our, which is a really good segue to my next question. So your book, Being Human, an unrepentant memoir of a disability rights activist, was published this February, 2020. And you begin by saying, for a long time, I resisted the idea of writing my story, not because I was afraid of revisiting these memories, although it had been difficult at times, I admit, but rather because I've never felt like it was my story alone to tell. So can you tell us a little bit more about this resistance and what made you do it anyway?
Well, I was very lucky to be able to get an agent who introduced me to Kristen Joyner. And Kristen Joyner and I wrote the book together. Kristen does not have a disability, but she'd been an activist prior to meeting me on issues around women and poverty. And writing a book is a very daunting experience.
I can imagine.
I'm a much more comfortable speaker. Writing is a very different skill. And it took us like 3 years. It was a very long venture. But I really, once I was able to find Kristen and we were able to get a publisher, Beacon Press, we began working in earnest on putting the story together. And I really wanted, in putting the story together, for it to be something which people could experience whether or not they had a disability, where hopefully the way we've written the story, people could see themselves in the story and learn different things from the story. My experiences, obviously some of my experiences are unique to me, but many of my experiences are very similar to and identical to other people, not only who live in the United States, but who are from other countries around the world. And so for me, that was one of the important parts of finally being able to get this book written, because I think it's also stimulating discussions amongst disabled and non-disabled individuals about what we've experienced in our lives. And hopefully also to allow people to see the role of activism, personal commitment, and a vision that, you know, collectively we can make a difference, that it doesn't happen overnight, that we have to be in this for the long haul, and that our lives as individuals can be improving through this work, but ultimately what we need to be doing is doing it in a collective way so that we envision, you know, in our case, millions of people benefiting over time.
Absolutely. Well, well done. I can definitely say from my point of view, I saw my experience in reading your experience, and it validates a part of those sort of embarrassing or quiet disability experiences that we don't often tell others about. And so thank you for that. And just following.
Now I hope other people, you know, one of the reasons I also did this, yes, hopefully some other people will become more committed to writing their own stories, but everybody doesn't have to write a book to tell their stories. And I think one thing for me that was important really over my life, as I really believe that telling our stories is important, because you're telling your story, Maggie, allows other people to see and learn not just about you, but about themselves, and how being able to express both the joy and pain that we live as disabled people is important, I think, both emotionally for us, but also to allow other people to see they're not alone, because I think that's very important. People can feel very isolated, and the stigma of disability can be such that you know, it becomes difficult to be able to do that. And I find that it's really critically important for people to tell their stories and to get support from others.
And to help them be more human.
I call it coming together to go apart.
So wrapping with the book and the movie, what is it like? I mean, you just explained some, but what is it like to share your story in this way combined?
So I would say a couple of things. The Black Lives Matter movement, which has been expanding this year because of the atrocities that have been committed against Black people, some of whom have disabilities also. It's been a very emotional experience for me, because I realize that we need to tell our stories more, and that really getting deep into some of our stories is difficult to tell. You know, when I think of people in institutions who are dying pre-COVID, 40% of those who've died in the US from COVID are people who have disabilities, may not be being called people with disabilities. They're being called old or having underlying conditions or whatever the euphemisms are, but it's people with disabilities significantly. And that's very painful for me to see how we have not yet been able to get legislators, the general public, to understand that the conditions that people are living in are not momentarily bad. It's not that for however long COVID will be in our environment, 6 months, a year and a half, that once COVID is maintained and a vaccine occurs, people still should not be living in these institutionalized settings.
Yes.
And that to me is something that we need to be speaking up and out more strongly against. And certainly groups are doing that. I mean, the American Association of People with Disabilities and the National Council on Independent Living and the DD programs and many others are speaking up and out against this. But I think we need the general public to understand people don't want to live in these places. They're living there because there aren't alternatives in the community, and that we must be creating alternatives in the community so people can stay in the community and not live in such dangerous situations. And most importantly, basically losing their lives as they're rotting away in these institutions.
So for people that may not know how or may not know the resources, Judy, how would you best tell someone how to be an ally or how to be outspoken?
I think first of all, people need to recognize that they too in the future may need more extensive assistance. And that this is not a statement that's a threat, it's a statement of reality. And, you know, I had polio, you one day had
a spinal cord injury.
Spinal cord injury, I was thinking of the name, sorry. But something that just happened very quickly, like with me. And that happens to many, many people across the life expectancy. So people need to be invested in the community that they're living in. And they need to be looking at improving community, not only for those of us with disabilities today, but to be preparing for in the future for themselves or other family members. And so they can do that by speaking with disability organizations, learning about what we're doing, learning about the importance of Medicaid and Medicare and long-term services, and most importantly, after money, is really to understand that people with significant disabilities can live in a dignified, productive way in the community if we get the supports that we need to be able to do that.
Yes, yes. I love that. Thank you.
Welcome.
So, Judy, this week, we're celebrating 30 years of the ADA. Your reflection on what the ADA means to me was just featured in the New York Times. Congratulations. Expanding on that, two-part question. What did it mean for you then, 30 years ago? And what does it mean for you today?
Well, I think then it was obviously a very joyous time because years of work had been gone into getting this done. I was very proud of the leadership that were in Washington, people like Justin Dart and Pat Wright and Arlene Mayerson, Marilyn Golden, Lex Frieden, many, many other people who really were on a daily basis working on the law, working on crisis situations, working with the community around the country. I think all of that was really tremendous. And I think one of the things I was very happy about and proud of is as disabled people, we were able to come together across the United States, cross disability, and all of the complexities of who we are, and come forward with a common message. And that message was that discrimination existed and discrimination had to end, and the federal government had an obligation to protect the rights of those of us with disabilities in the United States, and that we've been able to educate our congressional delegations on the House and Senate side to, in the end, support what we were trying to achieve. So where are we today? I think we're benefiting from the importance of the ADA and things that have been changing, like accessible buses, shopping malls, movie theaters, restaurants that are accessible, addressing issues of employment. Now, I think we all know that in the area of employment, that disabled people are disproportionately unemployed and underemployed. In part, what's good about, we at least have more numbers now. You know, the Department of Labor collects numbers on unemployment of disabled individuals, so we're no longer speculating. We can look at information much more detailed, which I think is important. Our movement is expanding, again, looking at the evolution of the Centers for Independent Living, the strengthening of groups like the National Association of the Deaf and National Foundation of the Blind, and the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network, and many organizations that are run by disabled individuals, the National Disability Leadership Network, and so many groups that really, I think, our voices have been coming together. We are demanding the end to discrimination, and we are continuing to expand our movement. So the numbers of people speaking on these issues is expanding. But I would say that one of the critical areas we still need to be working on, there's 61 million disabled individuals. I want to see millions of us much more vocal and present,
Yes.
cross disability, cross race, etc. And I think as we become stronger and empowered and feel empowered by our disabilities, the more progress we're going to make.
Yes. Hell yes. On that note, what does disability pride mean to you?
Just that, it's feeling proud of who I am, including who I am as a disabled person. I'm a disabled Jewish woman. Those three things are important to me. I want them to be able to kind of be woven together. I want the women's community, the Jewish community, the disability community to basically be able to work to support our goals and visions. The civil rights communities, you know, I want the women's community to see Black, Latino, LGBTQ, you know, girls and women as a part of the movement, speaking up and with, you know, recruiting, bringing people into broader movements and working more collaboratively together. And, you know, ultimately, I want to see and read and learn about hundreds of thousands, millions of disabled people who really can publicly say, our lives matter. And we are not going to live as second-class citizens any longer.
Yes. As a disabled Jewish woman, do you feel sexy?
I feel sexy. Honestly, watching Crip Camp, I definitely did feel sexy. I think I'm older now and I still feel sexy, but it is, I laugh throughout watching the film. I cry like other people at different points in the film. But I think one of the good things about Camp Jened, and when I worked with the Center for Independent Living and in other jobs, was being able to, you know, feel more as a whole person. And part of that is being a woman, and part of that does mean that I wanna look attractive.
Absolutely. Well, yes. And all of the emotions and everything included, you are sexy. Judy, I would talk to you all day long, but I really want to give our audience a chance to ask some questions.
Me too.
As well.
Okay, I'm back. I thank you Maggie and Judy for a great interview. And again, I wish we could go on too. You guys were doing great. We do have some questions from the audience, and we've allotted some time for that. So if you're okay, I'll just go ahead and start reading them from the Facebook page here. So one says, it's okay, you've already answered the one that someone asked, can you share with us about your book Being Human? But I think we just got that one. So Judy, your work and advocacy spans generations, and you continue to be very active. Any plans to slow down? Perhaps we could convince you to take a vacation and do a guest speaking event once travel is safer to Alaska.
Oh, I'd love to come back to Alaska. Unfortunately, as we all know, there's no traveling right now. So I figure when I'm dead, I'll slow down, at least from what I can tell. And I enjoy doing the work that I'm doing. I enjoy meeting people, speaking to people, collectively working on problem solving, you know, allowing us to gain our voice. And I'm always learning from other people, and I really like that to be happening. I think right now with COVID, it's also difficult, like, to go on vacation, because a lot of the options that may exist for other people don't necessarily exist as easily for some of us. So, but I'm definitely taking a week off in August. My husband wants me to spend more time with him.
Awesome.
Let me just say one thing about the book. So I think what's important about the book is you'll see it goes from when I'm a child, significantly, it goes through my life. The book ends with my talking about what I believe the future needs to be. And it was obviously written before COVID. It was published in February, but it went to bed last summer. So I think I'm hoping that the book will also be something that allows people to think about where we are right now with COVID, what we need to be fighting for at the local, county, state, federal level. Budgets are obviously going to be impacted. And so I think we really need to be fighting to maintain the money that we need to be able to stay living in the community, getting the supports we need. And I really do hope everyone is wearing their mask so that we can really be containing the virus. And I also believe that the elections are very important. And I really do hope that people are really working on addressing issues of voter suppression so that disabled people will be able to vote. Exercising our vote, both at the national, state, and local levels, is more important than ever. And I think we really, the disability community is stepping up. I think the Rev Up work that's going on through AAPD is very important, and we need to support it.
Very good, thank you. I appreciate that answer, and I hope it does inspire people to work on all the points you just made. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I just want to note that we still have like 10 more minutes and we have only one question. So if people are listening and have another question or two you want to write into the comment section of the Facebook post, feel free to do that right now and we'll take some more questions. I'll read this one question and then Maggie, you might want to think of one in case we don't get another one.
Maggie has a million more questions.
Okay, good. So here's one. Okay, so I see another one just popped in. So Judy, I would love to hear your perspective on how people who don't experience disabilities can be a powerful part of the movement without overshadowing or taking the voices of those we are supporting. Thoughts on tokenism in leadership?
It's a great question. First of all, I think if there are many different roles that non-disabled people can play. You know, in your house, in your community, in your job, if you go to a religious institution, really looking at how people think about those of us with disabilities, helping to advance discussions and knowledge is very important, and encouraging people to really learn more about who we are as disabled people. Certainly getting more involved and knowledgeable about local organizations run by disabled people, I think, is very important. And I think be sensitive. Take your cues from your disabled friends about when it's appropriate for you to do certain things and not. I think it's really great that you can think about not wanting to be stepping on other disabled people, and you want to look at elevating the voices of disabled people and not overshadowing the voices of disabled people. I think that's very, very important. And I think if you're wise about how you move forward, it's like any other movement. So what is it that you're doing to advance other human civil rights issues in your communities, and learn from what you're doing there?
Very good, thank you.
Judy, you used the word non-disabled, and I watched you on The Daily Show with Trevor Noah so beautifully correct him and insert the word non-disabled. Would you mind explaining why that's your chosen word?
I don't like the word able when people are implying that because I have a disability, I'm not able. I am not able to do things like be a chemist or a mathematician because, in part, I guess I choose, and I don't have the mind for some of those intellectual activities. I have areas of strength, other areas. The fact that I can't walk doesn't make me less quote unquote able than someone else. And I like to level the playing field. So for me, you don't have a disability, you're non-disabled. You do have a disability, you're disabled. And leave it alone, because I just think people do so many crazy things, taking the word disabled and pulling it apart and making the A capital and all this other crap, dis-able. I just hate it. So I use the word disabled, non-disabled, and for me, be done with it.
Thank you.
Great. And another question did pop up. So how about if I ask this one, and then if there's another one, maybe we'll let Maggie ask another after this. So here's the last question we have on the screen. It says, have you done any teaching videos sharing the skills and practices that contribute to greater effectiveness in achieving goals related to human rights?
I've been a part of some programs where those kinds of issues are being trained. I've never put together like a training instrument or anything like that. I think they're very important. And when 504 was signed, the regulations, the government put money into setting up regional training programs. So there were regional training programs to train disabled individuals on what the ADA was, what Section 504 was and what it wasn't. There was also money that went into training, various associations like higher ed and healthcare associations on what 504 was. And likewise, after the ADA became law, there were also trainings that went on for many years so that disabled people could learn about the ADA, and non-disabled individuals would also be able to learn about the ADA and what their obligations were and weren't. So I think all of that is really very important that we understand this, but I've not been involved in putting together a toolkit. I've given input into it, but there are other people that are doing that.
Very good, thank you. Maggie, another question came up, but I think you should ask your question, and if there is time for this other one, we'll ask it. But I think you should. I know you've been holding in some questions, so I want to make sure you ask.
Sure. So, I mean, as far as the toolkit goes, Judy hosts a social media online presence called The Human Perspective with Judith Heumann. So using social media, you interview people, and the project is intended to broaden and spur discussions on intersectionality of disability rights. So you get to interview some pretty cool people. Who's someone that you really loved interviewing?
I've loved many of my interviews. I think the more recent, well, I've done a couple that I interviewed Galen Lee the other day, and she's a little person. She's a musician, very talented, won an award through NPR, and has traveled to all across the United States and to many countries around the world. She's a great musician, last name L-E-A. I encourage you to both look at the interview we did and also get her music. I also had the opportunity to interview Senator Tammy Duckworth, who, when I asked her to be on the show, had not been announced as one of the women on the slate being considered by Vice President Biden. And the day that we did the interview was the first piece that came out in the New York Times supporting her or advancing her and allowing people to have a better understanding of who she was. So it was a very great day to interview and have her notoriety also be advancing at that point. And I really, most of the programs that I've done, I hope are having an impact in many different audiences.
Great. Well, a couple of questions have popped in. Maggie, do you want me to go ahead and read those, or do you have a burning question you wanted to ask? Because we probably have time for one more question.
Well, then let the audience take it, please.
Well, there's two. And so, Judy, maybe I'll let you decide which one you can answer, you prefer to answer. One is asking for resources like books and videos for K-2 educators so that they can better understand and engage with students with disabilities. And then the second one is, do you have advice for parks and recreation planners to make sure that our public spaces serve all of us? Anchorage is building inclusive playgrounds, but what else can we do? So there's two questions if you want to.
Great questions. So I think on the education issue, it's a really important question because it speaks to a bigger problem, which is the lack of material that's out there, both in literature and journalism and documentary and regular film and television. I would speak to a librarian to see what you have in your area. As far as, we're talking about books, and I'm sorry, what was the other?
You mean the second question?
Yeah.
Was about parks and recreation
yeah.
plan for public.
So parks and recreation, again, I would look at what's going on within your state parks and with the federal parks and speak with them, because there's been some great work that's been done as a result of the ADA in accessibility of parks. And I think really going to those organizations to learn about what they've done, why they've done it, how they've done it. And I would imagine that some of these organizations also have people that are dealing with the issue of accessibility and compliance separately. And I'm gonna have to go.
Yep.
I really want to thank you all for this. And it would be great. I always have thought about taking a cruise up to Hawaii. Up to Alaska. Some of my friends have been on the Alaska cruise, and would love to do it. The only thing about a cruise is you don't get to be on the land, and I would love to be on the land more. I have some very nice jewelry that I bought the last time I was in Alaska, and I met great people and great work that you're all doing. So thank you very much. I look forward to maybe coming back and doing something with you all virtually. But please, if you haven't seen Netflix Script Camp, do that. And if you like to read, you can also get the book on audio. The audio version of my book was read by Ali Stroker. Ali Stroker is the first disabled wheelchair user to perform on Broadway and to receive a Tony Award. She received a Tony Award, I think, in 2018 for her performance in the revision of Oklahoma. And she's the one who played me on Drunk History 504. Thank you all very much. Have a great weekend and wear your masks and be safe.
Thank you, Judy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judy, and thank you, Maggie, for a great interview. We're going to close today with a pre-recorded interview with Jenna Crafton, an Alaska disability advocate. But before we do that, I just want to make sure we thank all the people on the planning and interview committee, everyone who helped make this Alaska Pride event happen. And that includes Lanny Momsen, Nikki Marcano, Wendy Cloyd, Katie Wheeler, Rick Nelson, Maggie Winston, Lucy Oden, Sabrina Richmond, Holly Yancey, Lacey Rodriguez, Rachel Robison, Colleen Peterson, Kim Champney, Garrett Dominic, Travis Noah, Jenna and Tom Crafton, Sydney Krebsbaugh, Heidi Lieb-Williams, Anna Pieper, Anna Smith, Karen Brunello, Cynthia Hensley, Eric Gurley, and me, your MC, Terry Tibbett. Thank you again, everybody, and enjoy the video, and we'll see you tomorrow for more interviews. It'll be Stand Up for Mental Health tomorrow at noon Alaska time, and that's a comedy team from Vancouver, BC. There'll be 6 comics offering a performance, and then an interview followed by Gwendolyn Bradshaw. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for the video coming up next. Thanks and goodbye. Oh gosh, I got it wrong.
Hi, my name is Heidi Lieb-Williams. I am currently the Vice Chair of the Governor's Council on Special Education Disabilities. I chair the Autism Ad Hoc Working Group Committee. I've testified and helped pass 3 laws, including the Supported Decision-Making Agreement Act. I have a business called Puzzled with Purpose, Autistically Inspired Creations, where I get to help other people with autism also learn how to create and sew and knit and develop their own entrepreneurial businesses, and using my booth as a way to practice communication, social skills, and then educate and develop or connect the community together. I founded the Shining Abilities Craft Fair, which includes featuring the capabilities of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. I've spoken at conferences locally and nationally. I've been very honored to do that. I've broken barriers with being pageant title holders, where I get to help do other things with the community to fulfill a purpose that I feel like God has for me along my journey. And I used to not think I was capable of any of this or even understand that I could become capable of doing these things. But the unimaginable is possible. And I don't plan on staying the same person that I am as I grow along my journey. I'm not sure exactly what's unique or special about me, but I did get a chance to live in Italy a few years ago and visit Pisa and um, Venice and Verona, where Romeo and Juliet once lived. And I recently found out that I am going to be receiving the Betty Williams Champions of Equality Award, which is given by the National Council, our National Association of Councils for People with Developmental Disabilities. So I'm very honored for that and shocked. But I guess I just want people to know, like, to never give up and give your best and dream and set goals and overcome obstacles. Pursue things passionately, make a difference being exactly who you are, with what you have to give, and use your strengths and gifts and talents and your voice and advocate and go forward on your journey to walk through doors to leave your special thumbprint legacy. So I believe as you connect the pieces, or as I've connected the pieces with people, that you are also able to do the same. And using my testimony, hopefully, to show that because I'm not like everybody else, I make a difference in my own way. Maybe that's unique or special. I'm not sure. I have multiple disabilities or diagnoses that I struggle with. I advocate mostly for autism, as well as other disabilities, but I don't see autism as a disability all the time. I kind of think of it as a superpower because since I see the world differently, I'm able to impact it, hopefully, a different, special kind of way. I am also functionally deaf, hard of hearing. I have anxiety disorder, attention and deficit concentration deficit, mixed receptive expressive language disorder, recurrent major depression disorder. I'm partially paralyzed on my right arm. And when I was younger, I was labeled as developmentally delayed and cognitively impaired and dumb and stupid and blurts out at the wrong time, or, you know, make sure she does nothing with math or science because she has the incomprehension to ever function in those capacities. But I feel like I make a difference my own way, and I'm able to perceive and think differently, and simply use that to show that I can make an impact being me, and hopefully show you that you can also make an impact by being you. The Disability Pride event is all about honoring a person's uniqueness as a beautiful part of celebrating who we are as individuals, changing people's attitudes, seeing things in a new light, using our abilities to empower others, tell our stories, to change lives, remind people of things they take for granted. Whoever we are, we have a purpose, and we need to use that to empower others. And throughout this week, we celebrated learning and understanding and educating, being a friend or a supporter, seeing awesome things that we have to offer, because when we are given wings to fly, be excited to watch us soar. So Disability Pride is something where we're celebrating abilities, not just celebrating a disability, but celebrating the abilities that each one of us have. 30 years from now, I will be 75 in Alaska. And I do hope to see lots of changes. with all the advocacy and the speaking out that we're doing now, I expect that in the future, people with disabilities and their families will not have to struggle like we do today to get the things that we need to be successful, that we're able to fulfill our dreams and goals that each of us have. To be able to come to fruition a lot more easier without the difficulties. And I just believe in Alaska being our state. I believe in our people here as being a forefront, as an example for the rest of the United States to follow. I think that in celebrating the ADA, it allows us to come as far as we have, but to be able to move forward and know that 30 years from now should look drastically different. So my advocacy journey started with my Puzzle with Purpose business that I have, and then led to having the confidence to dream up the Shining Abilities Craft Fair, which led to sitting as a member on the Governor's Council for Disabilities and Special Education, leading to learn leadership skills as the chair of the Autism Ad Hoc Work Group, and then last year becoming the vice chair of the Gov's Council. I've been able to build confidence through pageant titles to use autism as my platform, but also help the community in so many different ways with so other different programs, as like domestic violence and what we call STAR advocacy for people with sexual assault, and just helping different entities on that level too, and showing that people with disabilities have more abilities to just to help people with disabilities, but to help community in different ways. And then recently, to go along my journey and receive that couple community service awards, and then what I mentioned earlier about the Champions of Equality Award just amazes me that advocacy can be as powerful as it can. And so that's a little bit about how my journey's been so far, and hope to do more. What motivates me is to be able to be a part of a solution to challenges and break barriers in order to make a difference and inspire and encourage others along the way. A couple of years ago, there was a person in a hierarchy position that told me what I wanted to accomplish was not possible at all. And I, with my autism brain, hear that word impossible, and to me, nothing is impossible. That's what I've learned, and believe. And I was able to take that belief and break records and make history by having that impossibility come to fruition. And the motivation to be able to show that when we come together or break barriers together as individuals or as a community or as a small team of people, that's motivating to me, because whenever you can make a difference, that should be the motivation. Bottom line is, what can you do to contribute to your community, to your world, to the person that you meet that you may only see for 5 minutes and never see again. And we're all here on this earth for a purpose. And so motivation should be to fulfill your purpose and what you're called to do. I am passionate about using what I call my intense enthusiasm to help people with disabilities discover their abilities. As in my heart, I feel like that's what's given me a true purpose. Being autistic, making a difference using those aspects of what I have to offer and going through doors and opportunities that I never thought that I could, using my story, my testimony to not be kept quiet, but to tell your story and use your life to hopefully being rewarding to others, to have impacting like amazing results from it. I feel like I'm also passionate about acting. It's one of my autism intense focuses that I've had since I was a kid, and using that to propel the idea of making my own films about autism, and also having dreams to continue having opportunities as an autistic person in TV and film, and propelling us in that different direction. I'm passionate about that also. Are there any final words? And I would say, please celebrate the ability to share our stories, the ability to shine a light and make a difference, the ability to tell how you used to be, and the ability to show how far you've come to become who you are. They haven't seen what it takes or what it's taken to become who you are. And so I will continue to speak and advocate and be a voice and walk through doors of opportunities as God will use me to fulfill the purposes that He had for me, and try to leave a thumbprint legacy, as I know that you can and will too. And I thank you, and I hope that you guys have been blessed throughout this special week of a celebration, and each of us have left our own imprint in your heart. Those would be my final words.